Welcome back and hello everyone for the second part of High Performance Computing Advanced Scientific Computing course, Lecture 10. We'll carry on the second part of the deep sequence models and fluid. We are in the Lecture 10, as we said in part 1, and the second part we'll talk about the deep sequence model, and we will go through a practical example on the LSTM model. And we will run it with high performance computing. From this material here and this practical, you will learn how you can do your assignment as well. Then let's carry on the second part. How we applying the sequential deep learning. Usually there are a few questions we should answer when we want to create data for deep learning in the sequential model. How design a model match the sequential in physics with applied dynamics? In the fluid dynamic, we have two perspectives of framework on the measurement, Eulerian and Lagrangian one. Lagrangian perspective is matched from the time series data because we have in the Lagrangian perspective data which they are spatial and temporal. So they are function of the time and the location. Then we can extract data in the time-series manner to train the deep learning model and create time series data. Then the next question is how we can apply raw data for the sequential methods. Usually in the industry and laboratory measurement, there are many devices to measure the flow properties in time series. For example, for the velocity, we have a flow meter, we have constant temperature anemometer or hot wire, laser, Doppler anemometry, pitot tube, light detection, and ranging. From these tools, we can have time series data set from the velocity, and we can apply LSTM or GO method to have a prediction model. The next question is the raw data able to determine the flow feature? Well, in turbulent flow, it is well known that a statistical measurement, its statistics data or measurement, it's applicable. That means if we have, for example, a feature for like velocity, and we have a statistic measurement from these properties, we can apply this data to study the turbulent flow. These feature in the turbulent flow make it possible to apply measurement data from tools or from numerical solution to create a prediction and then understand the turbulence flow. The data we are using here in this case study as studies which is published, and you will use part of this data as a practical and then assignment. Here we step by step we explain how we create data to match the sequential data set, and we can make LSTM or GO model prediction for them. Regarding the available data and the data set that's designed from the experiment, we should mention deep learning capable to extracting the hidden information from these many layers in the model. From other method in the deep learning, convolutional neural network also has this capability, similar to a neural network like LSTM or GO variants. Therefore, this capability, it makes it possible to apply the raw data, as we said, for measurement without any more purposing. Because in this experiment, we will look on it. There are other parameters and effective feature that from the previous studies in the fluid dynamics, we know they making impact or change in the result. But here we don't apply this data in our model on prediction. For example, we know gravity can impact the velocity behavior, but here we don't use this gravity parameter in our training, only the velocity from the previous time and then predicting the velocity for following period of the time. However, when we apply the deep learning for this such a data and for larger data, the parallel computing is essential, and here you will see how we can apply it. About the generated data, here is short explanation. Here you see a picture from the facility used to create this data. In this tank, with 8 impellers in the corner of the tank, the flow get turbulence behavior, and the turbulence intensity controlled via this impeller rotational speed. Then, to make deformation of the flow, as you can see here, with these 2 circular plates in up and down, they, in a specific time, shortly, they're moving toward in the center and creating deformation turbulence flow. To have a good measurement, we measure the measurement area is 24.5 millimeter square in the center of the tank. Here, this is in the sketch you can see, and if we look in the tank, you can see it here in this center. So we're using a high-speed camera to take the measurement. The camera is taking 10,000 frames per second, so it's very high-speed measurement. And the strain of this deformation made with two rate, one of them main strain rate 4 and one 8. And as well, to control the turbulence intensity of the flow, these impellers here rotate with different cases, one time with 1000 RPM and one time 1500, and as well we have 2500. To take a measurement with Lagrangian framework, we applied Lagrangian particle tracking method, and the flow seeded with tracer particle with 8 to 10 micrometer size and with 1.1 gravity gram per cubic centimeter. So this is the description of the experiment has done, and create the data set. We used it here. So assume for this specific time, we creating data set and we're measuring the velocity of the fluid particle, as we said here, with a specific technique. And then we have time series data. We can perform the LSTM model to create a prediction for them. This table here is presenting a view of the data set. As you see, we have time series data on every single time. We have location X, location Y, and the velocity. This velocity here, velocity component Y in the Y direction. We have another velocity component in the X direction. In this method, we suggested application of the LSTM for prediction for every component individually. That means if we have 2D measurement, we have velocity in X and Y direction. In every model, we can create prediction one time for velocity in X direction, and then again we can make a model for prediction for velocity in Y direction. So if we have 3D measurement, it will be velocity component in the Z direction. We can perform this model again and create prediction for velocity in Z direction. This capability make this model application is flexible for 2D and 3D prediction. When we applied this model for prediction, as you see, we applied TensorFlow platform. When we trained the model, this is from GRU and this is LSTM, with 80% training. This green area is the training data set, and this colored area is the prediction. The actual data is blue color, as you can see here in some point. But it's mean the predicted data, it's match the actual data remarkably, and it's very considerable result from the prediction. However, it's very short measurement. You see the time of the measurement totally 0.2 second, and we use 80% for training and 20% rest for the validation. Then again, we use this model with training with 60% training, and then with GRU and LSTM. As you can see here, again, the blue color is the actual data, and this color part is the prediction for these two models. And it's, again, is matching considerably. So it's mean the LSTM model and GRU model for time series data in such a turbulence flow, which is complex, and we have many effects from the strain rate, from the presence of the gravity, and the turbulence intensity. Without using that parameter, only with the time series of the velocity, we can predict the next period of the velocity as one of the important feature in the fluid flow. When we use the GRU method and LSTM, we consider the computing time with them. However, the data is not too large, so the time of the computing it's short. However, when we made the scalability, it seems GRU working faster than LSTM with similar data. We made the computation one time with one node and one GPU, and second time with one node and 4 GPUs. And this is the result here you can see. This work is published, and if you want to read the detail about that, the link is available in the reference to go through the detail of these measurement. However, now we can have a practical example from this measurement. Let's go and see how we can run it on the parallel. Firstly, we can run it from here from the mobile extreme. This is exactly similar to what you will do in your assignment when you set up your public and private key. For Eureka, you can see Eureka here. And so when you open it, you have this page, and you can start your job submitting. We have the code for the LSTM here. This is the example from the LSTM. This is the main code in the Python language. Since we said in this course, we are not teaching programming, and you don't need exactly the programming. But if you know the Python, you can understand this code and how it's work. Here, you should pay attention to this part. This is the input data, the file we are reading. Because we have here the data, it's CSV file. And the structure here is similar to the assignment you will get it to do. So we have source data to run it. You should pay attention to the name here. It's flow2.csv, and here it's similar. So we will take this data, and we, based on this code, We will do time series data, we will do the normalization. We use the window size method to make time series. And for the training part, we split the data into 80% training and 20% it will be test or validation. The epoch is 50 here, and we have 64 batch size. However, we will specify the number of the nodes and if we need use the GPUs. And here, then in the next part, the code will be running and will measuring for you the mean absolute error and R2 score and other parameter. So the code, it's this one. If you want to change something, interested to see the code here, you can change the ratio of the training. This is 80%, you can convert to 60%, 70%, you can see how it's working. With less data training, of course, it should be faster. And here the file name from the epoch and batch size also, they are impacting the competition when you have more epochs, so it's taking longer time for training. And the batch size, it could be help you to get faster computing with correct setup. So this is the code here, and this is the source of the data. You need to submit a job here. So here we need to do setup for the batch file. Here the name of the project that you registered on the URL. This is the partition. You have different partition. You have DC GPU, you have DC CPU. You can specify the partition, the name of the file. You can specify nodes, how many nodes you want to do, and how many tasks per node. You can specify the memory here and the time limit of the running. And you can specify your email here so you can get email that when the work is done or is still running. In this part, you need to load the required modules. They are loaded here in this batch, and you can see what it's required to load to understand which for example, assume you wanna upload the TensorFlow module. You can go back here, and you can write here TensorFlow module spider. This will helping you when you want to loading a module, which other module is required. Because sometimes, you see here, for example, it's telling you this version of the Python is available here. Assume you want to loading this module, so you need to check which requirement is available. So when you run this one, you'll see if you want to use this module, if you want to load this module, it's essential to load this module as well. It said written here that you need loading any of one of these lines before running it. This is the reason here in this batch file. You see when we have TensorFlow, scikit-learn, and Python, we have all the modules loaded to working with them. So here, the required module is loaded, and here to run the code that we have it here, LSTMPI. So to run the code here, only you need to submit the batch file. To submit the batch file, firstly, you need to enter this folder. When you enter the Newton, you are here in the login. So you should enter this folder. And this method, the STM. And now we are in. we can see which file is available. We have the batch file, LSTM Python, the code, and the source file. To run the batch file here, just you need to add sbatch. The work is submitted, as you can see here. The a number of the job ID. If you want to check uh, the status of the job submitted, you can write as control show job. You should write the ID here. And here we can see the status of the job. It's pending now. And you can see all other information from the job here. With this command, SQ, and your user account, you can see the job submitted from your side. This test one, this is something from the when we enter from Jupyter JSC, and we will look on it. But here you can see the job submitted according to the ID. The job ID here is 547, so it's this one. And you see the time is still, sim is still pending. We can submit again another one. And this is the another one. Again, we can look on the status of the job. This one here is written is pending. And with this command, we can see all submitted job and how it's going with it. So maybe it's taking a while. And this is the method how you submitting the job here. Every time with your assignment, maybe you will ask to change the partition of the submission. So the partition is here. You need to change the partition, sometimes GPU or CPU, or maybe you will ask for the number of the node or task per node. So here you can change every time and submit the job again. And you will take a screen or time measurement from your submission. Let's have a look again. So still they are pending. I will submit another one. Okay, so they are pending. And let's go to the section on the Jupyter. Here, when you have your account from the UDO, when you registered, you can go on the Jupyter lab here from JSC. If you go to this page here, Jupyter JSC is there. I have it here, the link. When you open it, it will look like this. I have opened work here. To do the setup, you choose your machine. The setup is in this way. You have the services. Because of the Python version for your assignment or code you are getting from my side, set up it on the Jupyter 3.2, and you can name your work, for example, test 2, and the option is available for you, Eureka. Here you have the Eureka. And for the partition, as you see, there are different partitions. Mostly you will work with CPU and GPU. You can specify the different here. Every time if you will do your assignment here, if you want to change the partition, every time you have to create new configuration. Because when I choose, for example, GPU, and specify the node number and GPU, and I will put the time, for example, 2 hours. And if I run it, I can change it again when it's opened. It will be look like this when you open it. You can't change the partition, you can't change the number of nodes, you can't change the number of views, so you can't do that. Then again, if you ask in your uh, assignment to change the partition, again you can open the new labs and set up your partition. When you enter the Eureka with the specify, so you will have the code I will provide you, and you will have the CSV file as well. To run it, only you will open the code. So let's wait. There is the code here. It's available, and you will get it in your assignment as well. When you want to run it here, as you know, with this press run, it's kind of started, and as well with shift enter, you can run every cell. We do the first one. Let's wait a little bit. It is initializing the kernel. Okay, it's started now, it's connecting, and then so we start this cell now. As you know, in the Python, you need to import some libraries. And here we apply the TensorFlow platform. So the library is for TensorFlow. And step by step, when you go forward, you will see how the code is working. Here you need to have the name of the CSV file. For example, if you have flow1, you should put flow1.csv. So let's go for next cell. Here with this command, we can see how many GPUs we have. Then here again, we can see the ID of each GPU. You see we have 4 GPUs here, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Again, this is the another information from the GPUs and CPUs. Here we are reading the data. For example, here we read this data from the CSV that's available here. Then we'll carry on to run the Jupyter. This is the time series data that we have velocity. In this section, we're processing the data, we do normalization. And then to create time series, we use this window size technique. This one is taking a while because it's creating data. And if you look on the memory, it's going up. You have to wait for this one to be ready. Let's look on the submitted job here. Okay, it seems it is not running yet, so let's submit another one. This name with Unicode, this work, it's what we are using on the Jupyter. It's presenting here because these two sections it's connected each other. Yeah, it's still not running on it. So maybe we'll try with different machine. Let's finish this one in the Jupyter. However, because it's online and we are training, sometimes maybe these machines has the issues. And when you go here in this page, you can see how it's going with these machines. For example, here we are using Eureka, now it seems fine, but the other machines, they have maybe some issues. So if you face like this situation, just wait. I submitted another one. And still all of them pending. If we bring the S control and write the name of the ID of the job, we see it's still pending. Okay, here we're creating the data, the time series, so let's wait for it. So the difference between the Jupyter with access to the hypervisor computing, for example, here, it's different. You have to do step by step and look on it. However, when you submit a job here in mobile extend, this one more flexible because you can do every setup on the batch file and you don't need every time specify different things, and only with one command you submit the job. So it's much easier. I move to another machine to show you how it's working. To have a right example. We looked here. We have LSTM code here. It's similar setup that we made there. So let's look on this one. We should enter the LSTM folder. You see the available code. We have the code here. These LSTM flow series, and we have the batch file here. So we only submit the batch and we'll see how it's going. This is the setup. Here we have different project and different partition. How I present for you in the Eureka how it's working. So we can submit the job here again with S batch. You see the job is submitted. We can look on the write the ID here. You can see here the job is running. So on this one, it's working very well. But here still, we don't see the running for the code. So let's carry on here. If you look on the running job here, the time of the running with visit partition, we can submit another one. So now we have two work submitted and you see the running time. So this is the example of how it's running, and this will providing for you the time and how it's working and how long time it's taking. So this example of the mobile stream, and you saw it how it's working. Let's go back here. Here we have the data is created. Then we have the time series data. And see the 10. Here we specify the ratio of the training data. This is the training data, 80%. And here to specify the number of the GPUs, we use the strategy for TensorFlow. This method is working with this type. Here we have 4 GPUs. If we use this command with this view, it will apply the 4 GPUs. If you want to use 2 GPUs, you can use this one. You see here 2 GPUs, and if 1 GPU, this one. So it's the option that's available to apply which one. And with this method, we can specify the number of the GPUs we are using. Here we will use a 4. And the model here is created with 100 layers from Go. This is the example from the Go, of course. It's similar to LSTM. It's a variant from the LSTM. And with the strategy, as we mentioned, we design the model. Here we can specify number of the epoch and the batch size, which is related to the strategy. We can change the 30, 50, or 100, depending on the results. We will see how it's working in the model. And here, the model starting when we run this cell. Usually for the first part, it's taking longer for the first epoch because it's distributing the work between different GPUs. So here you see the first one is started, the first epoch, and this is the second. Is the first one took 21 seconds, but the next one it's faster. And with this manner, you see it's changing the mean absolute error with this training, and it's measuring the loss rate. Let's look here on this job. Still, they are running. When we look on the URL, still they are pending. We can submit another one just to try. To cancel a job with this command, with command S cancel. For example, the job E, this one. I think I write the number wrong. So I look on the, we can cancel it here. How? Because it's pending. Let's look on the another one, how it's going. Okay, this is running. Okay, so you see here with this S cancel and job ID, the work is cancelled. If I look on the available job now, submitted job, only one left. That one is cancelled. We can do it in the same manner here. Okay, we can do it again for the rest then. And if I ask for the submitted list job, here accuracy, these two removed. So here the work is still running. See the time on it. And here the training with 30 epoch is done. This is the execution time for the training. And here you can see some other measurements from the training. We can see the error here, the mean absolute error, and how much it's matching with our result. So this is the type of the submission of the job via Jupyter and as well from the mobile screen. And you can do it and you can see the time of this submission. Here the part 2 of this lecture 10 is finished. And in the end, there is a video. It's showing application of the neural networks for the physics of the fluid and the smoke. You can watch it on the YouTube. The link is available in the references. And I hope you get good point about the submitting job on the Eureka machine that you have access. Uh, and here in the bibliography, you can see the references of the work. You can read the more detail about them. And this is our research team leading by Maurice Riedel. And thank you. See you again in next lecture.